Hello and welcome to this is our second lunar sharing circle. We are here in the moonth, like the moon period of the moon. So it's a double moon energy. And speaking of doubling, I kind of have a double offering of the introduction to this month came to me inspired by Persephone. And then then I'll work on presenting specifically about this month of the month and guide people through the pulling of the cards. So if you're here, you have a deck handy, or you have any cards you pulled already. If you're watching later on, you have a deck handy, or you have the cards that you've been pulled and working with, just have them at the ready. So this is, I mean, every time of year is a special time of year. So this special time of year is kind of marked by the equinox. We after the new moon arrived, the moon of the moon, then we went right into the equinox. We're heading toward the full moon next week. And this March new moon equinox period is when I imagine Persephone first hears the call to return to the land of the living. This was the theme of my introduction. And this year, I was wondering if she ever considers not coming because, the underworld feels like home. She floats in the dark. She swims in its gentling silence, even when she has much work to do. And the upper world that we are in is very noisy now. Even below, they hear the long thuds, sway with the shakes, the reverberation of bombs ripples down, death drawing like a magnet all the killing sound. Do those above even want life this year? I imagine Persephone saying. And she has so much to do because the dead follow fast after the bombs and bullets from above. These past few years, children come in waves. 3 weeks ago, now 4 weeks ago, first Hana Dekani, 8, was at the door. Then Resha Hasabani, 7, and Arya Bandori, 9, followed by so many more, all from a school in Manab, Iran, struck with US bombs. So fast they came that Persephone couldn't welcome them all herself. Children from Gaza, here a little longer, stepped up to help. Mira, dead from a sniper's bullet, held the hand of those killed so suddenly they didn't know they were dead. Hind, who sat surrounded by her dead family, calling for help before she was murdered, looks those who died slowly amidst the rubble in the eye. She looks them in the eye and says, I won't turn away. It's a lot, even for the underworld dwellers, the Death Walkers. La Llorona. Her weeping is both louder and weaker, her throat ragged with rattles of rage and her breath shallow. In another corner, the Greek furies are plotting with Gujarat's Pachatamata to go after the killers of these children, castrate the men, cut off the breasts of the women. Persephone keeps them clear of the US squadron just arrived. John, Ariana, Ashley, Seth, Curtis, and Tyler. They jumped so fast from life to death that they are still in shock. Their eyes blinking, taking in the scene of arrival. All the children. John thinks of his own children. Another wonders how they all ended up in the same heaven. Yes, the dead arrive still webbed in the traditions and practices of their lives, speaking the same small languages. But those webs are weak, soon fall away. The dead soon come to know their task, make the underworld glow with a dark love made together. Persephone worries that these many dead might need her while she's gone, but then shakes her head, remembers her time away will be but a minute nicked from eternity for them. And the dead, these dead, have been working on letters they count on her to deliver to the beloveds they left in life. So many of the dead who arrived at the turning of the year are creatives, artists, poets, seeking new forms for their letters. In this section, these are creatives I knew personally. I'll give you just a little bit of who they are. I didn't include this in the post, but um, it's just good to remember our dead. Dave Rothstein writes mischief on pumpkin seeds to plant. He was my coworker and an artist, and he wrote a pumpkin down the Connecticut River, a huge pumpkin. He died suddenly in November. Evelyn Harris, the singer from Sweet Honey in the Rock, sends a sound held within a crystal flake. Charles Coe fashions an arrow to point to a page he left, the memento mori of the bump on his head. As I was writing this and remembering Charles when I was putting this together, I pulled up his book and I opened the first page I opened was to this memento mori poem. So maybe the dead want to communicate with us through their writings. Mary Claire Powell's page is a weed's petal with a note. Now I float without a body. Mary Claire's a poet in my poetry group, and her last book was about weeds. Ellen LaFleche just wiped some black rainbow glitter from her eye to be sprinkled on her grandsons. Another Northampton poet, local poet, um, very mischievous and creative, and she'd changed the color of her glasses frame by putting, just little stickums on it. So finally, Renee Macklin Good is gentling metal from Earth's mantle into tiny hearts. Persephone can't let them down, neither these new dead nor their beloveds waiting. Then there is her mother, who stopped the world to bring her back. Persephone is curious about which face she will see when she emerges from her climb. She never goes the same way. Each year, the path must be made anew, and the mother she sees is a surprise. She has stood before Demeter, sharing the secrets of wheat seed. Tonnessine Guadalupe, growing roses in winter. Hotu, queen of earth, directing to the rivers. No cum club, Wane, coaxing beer from water and plants mixing. Corn mother, surrendering her body to become the first garden. And Ghana, showing the face of the rainbow serpent, swimming the dream time. This is from the Dark Daughter Tarot. The world card is Ngana. And many more. Her mother is constantly revealing herself anew. So it is with curiosity and memory of her mother's fierce love that moves Persephone from her throne, and she prepares to rise. And then this is a poem. Fresh from death, necklaced still in lays of the dead, dressed in dark mold, skirting with hair tangled, her worms, seeds in her belly, unseen, the only slip of color red, no longer young, not now beautiful, Persephone climbs from the underworld. A crown of dirtied light, and each prong a plow, driven an eternity of times through frozen earth to find the roots where sap is siren singing come. Bruised arms and legs shake, wake the 10,000 cells to pull her through trees scar, shaped like an owl's eye. She emerges, a river below her, ice murmurs, the surface before sinking. Banks weedy with last season's death, goldenrod stripped, pods empty, stalks broken, all along the tongueless way of water flowing south. She'll make it her chariot, find an island of white to ride. Blackbird comes to rest in the nest her crown has become. Water laps her toes, her clothes are dissolving. Where she is dirt, all of winter's dark, the sound shook from the dead's goodbyes. Surrender here in the bend to river's bluing blush. A rising takes the bank, spreads itself to slake the thirst of fields folded now into watery embrace. Those of us who live in the Connecticut River Valley may make that connection that this is the Connecticut River. It's actually at Hadley, where the dike is, the turning of the dike, where I had what felt like it was a encounter with Persephone a number of years ago, when the ice was breaking up and the ice flows were flowing down. So that is kind of part one of this, the inspirations guiding this lunar sharing circle this time. And now I'm going to move into the new moon gateway, surface and depths during the moon of the moon. And what is happening here is I start with, sorry, I was doing a little logistical thinking here. Have your deck ready. So we'll see when I will prompt you to pull cards. But anyway, so the prompt for writing this was like the cry of a coffee maker that a housemate once had. And it sounded so otherworldly that it sounded like a whale. And whale song filled my kitchen. So this season, it seems to me, this is the very end of the astrological year. And actually, I think we've crossed over into, and this equinox time, things like that. We're going like this is the depths, the very depths of the year, and they're the haunting time of it. So, because in March we are not in winter, but not yet arrived in spring. There can be storms, but also sudden days of sun. And where I live, that means mud, that mixy mix of earth and water. Our hearts may rise one day like the whale surfacing to play, but the next slip back into the watery deep, called by a song that holds longings and emotions too complex to be easily described. We are between seasons, diving and rising like whales to move with the shifting currents. In Algonquin tradition, and the Algonquin people are the people of the area of the country where I live, the divine being Glooskap breaks the hold of winter by riding a whale to reach the summer and bring her back to warm the land of his people. We might think of March as this time we're in, as when he journeys to summer but has not yet returned. So whale is a good guide to this strange season where winter and spring do a messy push and pull. And whale is on Tarot Roots of Asia, version of the Ten of Cups. You can see whales up here. In the tarot tradition, the Ten of Cups indicates simple pleasures and emotional connection, inviting us to connect with family that nurtures us, biological or chosen. The meaning is not complicated, and it's hard to find a challenging aspect, but the whale in the Tarot Roots of Asia Ten of Cups brings an added layer of, yes, depth, where along with enjoying the Ten of Cups gifts, we also acknowledge what is below the happiness or obscured by the simplicity of a pleasant image. Right now, our reality is not simple. We are a world at war on the surface, hot and hateful and spreading. We in the United States, along with Israel, are the instigators. The bombs are not falling on us, though we are most often their makers, but they are falling in fury over the Middle East. If we seek to evade this reality, any happiness we experience will be a thin skin over spoiled fruit. The feelings we push down too deep will fester and grow. They could be building into a sudden storm that will rise to sink us into depths too dark and deep to swim out of or find our way back to the surface. The acknowledgement of true feeling and reality is vital to walking this moon's path of the moon, where light shifts constantly, our intuition is the best guide, and all flows with endless waters of emotion. And this is not just an esoteric correspondence, but a physical reality. Our bodies are composed of 55 to 78% water, with the same salinity as the ocean. The moon awakens within us our inner seas and rivers, activates our puddle parts, slicked with rainbows of oil, And these depth waters are a necessary part of filling that womb in which the new is gestating below the chaos at the surface. The no's we are keening in grief and shouting in rage at protests or other places against the cruelty of our time make the womb waters of what we seek to say yes to. The full vision of our collective yes may not be truly clear right now. It has yet to rise fully to the surface, but like the mess and mud of spring, this may just be part of the process. The moon of the moon is a good time to keep dreaming the yes. Let yourself catch glimpses of it in your longing for peace, in the consolation of sun after rain, in your admiration for how people are standing up for each other, and in the new, still small and rickety, but real systems of care we are creating to take the place of the institutions that fail. These are the yeses we desire to bring to the surface from out of the depths of so much water. How can we do this lifting? Our model for path walking this month is the Queen of Wands, who calls in fire, new energy, and focused vision. Queens channel energy and vision into bringing forth positive relations, projects, and or works of art that uplift the people. These queens are not swamped by the waters, but stand on top of them to create the new. And on the astrological wheel of the year of tarot correspondences, the Queen of Wands is a bridge between one astrological year and the next, moving us from Pisces to Aries. And the Queen of Wands then rules with the Emperor through the first weeks of the new astrological year and tipping toward greater light as the days lengthen. In the Dark Goddess Tarot, the card I'm holding up, Caridin, the Welsh goddess of transformation, takes the place of the Queen of Wands. Deck creator Ellen Lorenzi Prince gives Caridin's advice to us as craft anew with the bones of the old. These times we live in are stripping our old lives down to the bone, attuning us to strange new songs. The sole work of now is not to walk away from this challenging truth, but instead to transform what remains into new ways of being and structures that are equitable, just, sustainable, and yes, joyful. So these are the inspirations leading us into the questions. There's always 3 questions. And I suggest, let's see, a little tending to your body for a moment, maybe. Do you need to stretch something? Do you need to let out a sigh and let your body settle? Take in a deep breath. Feel how the air nourishes you, brings life, activates your heart, travels down to the depths of you, your innermost core, having that support of your body, the air, and then reaching for your tarot cards. Reach for your tarot cards and give them a shuffle. If you're pulling new cards, if you're pulling your first cards, take a moment, give them a shuffle. So a little bit of our ritual to move into connecting with the cards and opening ourselves up to receiving their wisdom and guidance. And then do, however the shuffling and pulling works for you, but you might want to just fan them out and have them ready to go. And then I maybe invite you to kind of like a soft gaze. Maybe you're partly looking down and you're bringing your attention to this idea of the depths. Maybe you want to close your eyes for a minute, whatever works. And the depths, maybe imagining your own blood, your own liquid self pumping through you. Maybe the image of the whale spoke to you. Maybe there's another inspiration for depths that you bring to your heart, into your mind, into your awareness. And then you may want to take your left hand and fan over your deck. If you're pulling a new card, if you've already had cards, just have your depth card ready. And let a card from the depths emerge and put it down before you. Open your eyes and let yourself be drawn into the deepest part of the card, whatever that means. There's a part of the card that has particular depths, and you go there. Is it a symbol? Is it an animal? Is it a color that's drawing you there? Think a little bit about what is the message of depths for you? What is this calling you to? And let yourself kind of draw back and look at the card as a whole. Kind of trying to stay with the image. What is moving within you as you're observing the whole of the card? You may want to consider how this card is calling you, this card of depth, how it's calling you, what it's calling you to. Now that you really examine the image, let yourself bring the tarot tradition or your deck's special meaning. Is there a saying or a poem or something of the write-up of this card from your deck that's particularly inspiring to you? You might want to close your eyes, kind of release any thinking. Let yourself just be. And out of that being, maybe a final kind of message emerges or an image floats to the surface. Or maybe there's nothing. Maybe you're just continuing to be. Whatever comes, receive it with gratitude. Now you're kind of half opening your eyes and redirecting to your tarot deck. Let your hand be kind of moving over. This is your surface card. Which card is going to surface to be your surface card? Let your hand pass over and find it. Or turn over the card you've been working with. Let it be there. As you look at it, what's the movement in this card? What is coming to the surface? What is moving upward? See if you can identify that movement, that flow in this card. And as you're considering that movement, that flow, you might want to be thinking about looking in the image for what is making it possible. What is supporting the movement, the moving to the surface? Is there any detail or aspect or symbol that keeps calling your attention? Spend a moment considering that aspect and what it is teaching you about how to surface. Let yourself consider what the tarot tradition or your deck, the special meaning offered for this card. And you may want to close your eyes. When you close your eyes, what remains of that image? And almost what happens with that echo of the image? How might it be rising through your body? As you're being with this card, aspects of it, symbols of it, the whole of it. Maybe there's a message for you about how to surface your card of the depths. Maybe it's a clear word or idea. Maybe it's not, but just receive anything that comes with gratitude. And now you half open your eyes, you're directing your eyes back to your deck for the cards you have ready. If you're pulling a card, you're fanning and thinking about emergence. What will come forth if you shine a light on what's surfacing? You help it to surface. It's the card of emergence. Let your hand go and find that card and turn it over and look at that image. And what would you say is emerging in that image? It could be one very small detail of the card, or maybe it is the whole of the card. What is emerging in that image? Is there anything that seems to be shining in this image? And as you consider the whole of it, think about how is this showing you what could possibly come forth if you bring things up from the depths. And you may want to close your eyes. Holding awareness of this idea of emergence, just as you're breathing. Is there any guidance coming to you? It's the guidance that's emerging for you with this image. Maybe you're receiving something very clear, maybe not. You're just kind of having some feeling, whatever it is, receive it with gratitude. And then, just before we move on, take a look at the three cards as a whole. The first card is the depth card. The second card is how to help bring things from the depths. The third card is what can emerge if you do this surfacing from the depths. Think of them as telling a little story. You might almost run in your mind right now a quick little once upon a time, or it can be something that you take for a little bit more of a longer practice, a little bit of journaling. Take these three cards and have them be a storyboard. Like, what is the story? Depth, surface, emergence. And take all of these cards. The full moon is next Wednesday. Just kind of the flow of Soul Path Sanctuary, the way I work with the moon. So I present this to you. Different people have different, the moon works on us differently. So I'm not saying this is the way. I'm saying this is the way I work with it and offer it to people. So the full moon can bring a revelation about, how to bring things from the depth if you're working with that, of whatever you're kind of starting with at the new moon and trying to bring forth, that the full moon can offer revelation of how it's developing or something new needs to happen. And then after the full moon revelation, there can be like a period of kind of like putting things together, helping that emergence to happen, do some of the work. And then just when we get to the very end of the cycle, right before we get to the end of the cycle, you can give a gift out of your revelations and the work that you do out of it. And then we go into the dark right before the new moon, and we release and we know. So that is it. We here live are going to go into a story sharing circle. If you are not live, but you have some thoughts and reflections, there's a post you can post on with where the video is, or you can send me an email, Carolyn@soulpathsanctuary.com. I'm always excited to hear about how things are working out for people as they journey through the moon. So good to know that there are seekers, lunar seekers out there paying attention to the depths, even as we have all the chaos at the surface. We can help bring some weightedness down to the earth, to at least try and be a little balanced. All right, travel well.